are not lazy. You are just functioning at your maximum capacity. We're going to dive deeper about nervous system capacity and what it really means. So you are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not unmotivated, although it seems like. You are likely functioning at your maximum nervous system capacity. And before we start, I want to ask you to come first into the body and to take a deep breath. And a deep breath out. Yes, you have maybe closed down your eyes, that's all good. You can keep them open. And let's explore deeper. When the body is carrying too much stress, too much pressure, too much emotion, too much trauma, stimulation, even simple tasks can feel impossible. And it is absolutely not failure. That is what I want to say to you. It is your nervous system that is asking for support because it's frozen. So many women today, and that I work with, has done tons of inner work. They are going to the therapies, to the talking therapies, you name it, the spiritual therapies, reading the books, journaling, although that can be a super helpful tool, meditating also, learning more about trauma and their traumas, what nervous system healing is, embodiment, feminine embodiment, and probably also emotional regulation. And yet, what I see, they feel still very overwhelmed. And I notice, that they wonder, why do I still shut down and I cannot show up? Why do I still feel exhausted when I just want to move things forward? Why do small things feel so hard and too big? Why can I not just do more? Right? Does that sound familiar? And the answer is often not that you are not doing a lot of healing. It is that the missing piece is nervous system capacity. And understanding it first, of course, and then helping your body and your inner world to come more and more to that point. Nervous system capacity is your body's ability to handle stress in life, emotions, pressures, stimulations from all the noise we are exposed to each day, and change without going into the freeze mode or the survival mode. So when capacity is low, even small tasks can feel overwhelming in life. Think about like answering your emails, making decisions, having difficult conversations, having your boundaries set, being around too much noise. Like so many are saying like, yeah, I'm too sensitive. Managing your responsibilities in life, trying to stay emotional, also open and available, and especially we as women. Your body can only hold so much before it begins to protect you in the survival mode. And if that is not possible, The other strategy is to go in fawn and into freeze. You know, the protection can most of the times look like overthinking, being irritated, going into panic mode and panic attacks, shutting down. You feel, like numbness, exhaustion, brain fog, procrastination, you name it. And many women think that these responses mean that something is wrong with them and I have to fix that specifically. I mean, before I came in contact with this work, I had that for so many years. And that's why it's my deepest passion to do this work. But what I want to say, it are often signs that the nervous system is clearly overloaded and it uses a strategy of going into fight or flight or in the fawn or the freeze state. So the window of tolerance is just gone. And what I want to say is your body is not working against you. It is working for you, trying to give you that information because it is feedback. So your nervous system is continuously scanning for safety or danger. And when it feels safe, you can think clearly. You know how that feels, you can think clearly, you are grounded, you feel connected to life and move through challenging more easily. And I also want to add a note here, and this is different between the masculine and the feminine incarnate bodies, is that the feminine, we hold like our monthly cycle, and in those different weeks of the cycle, I mean, a week before your period, you are very sensitive and you could feel so much more freeze responses or fight or flight than in the first 2 weeks in the summer and the spring period. So in those first 2 weeks, it's much easier. You work through challenges or creational stuff or whatsoever. So when it feels overwhelmed, your body just, as I said, goes in those kind of survival strategies. So let's explore deeper, because I said fight or flight, and you got if fight or flight is not possible anymore, then your body is going into the fawn or the freeze mode. But when we dive deeper into the survival response, it can look like anxiety, being restless, like the racing thoughts, the tensions, the hypervigilance of your nervous system, and being emotional reactive in life. Or you may, and then if that is not possible and your nervous system is like, like we need to go into the strategy of freeze, that can feel like numbness, dissociation. It can feel like low motivation. It can feel like exhaustion, withdrawal. Very hard and difficult to function. And this is why you can deeply want something and still struggle to take action. And it's not because you do not care. Oh my gosh, I know you care, It is because your nervous system does not currently have the capacity, that window of tolerance, to be that connected. And again, coming back to the cycle, where are you at in the cycle? What is your bandwidth of your capacity at that moment? So if we go, we looked at the symptoms and we going deeper. So what really caused underneath the water, underneath the surface, so underneath the symptoms, it can be trauma, for sure. chronic stress, burnout, even the leftovers, emotional suppression for years, overstimulation, and constantly pushing yourself beyond your limits. And that can really reduce the level of the nervous system capacity you're holding at the moment. And again, I really want to say it is different at the end. The last 2 weeks at your cycle than the first 2 weeks. You have a total different capacity. And what I find so interesting is that when we look, and I'm talking about that cycle, is that modern life, as we know, is asking women to hold so much. And I know, to be productive, even in the last 2 weeks. And that's why I really organized my whole cycle around what I can take on and what I will not take on. Being always emotional, available, being successful in life, to be healed, a healed version of ourselves, to be that perfect healed version, to be everything to everyone. And in the end, your body is just saying, I cannot carry this anymore from anyone or anything, not their performance. I just cannot do it anymore. And this is when even small things start to feel heavy. And you notice it more and more when women are more and more reaching their 40 years old. They are moving more and more to the horizon of, you see that in human design, that women are more and more moving towards their North Node and coming into the alignment with their true highest timeline and their deepest longing of their soul that they came to bring here. And this is also for the men, of course, but I'm talking to the women. It is about increasing, what I really want to say before I say this is that healing is not about forcing yourself to do more. It is about increasing the capacity with micro check-ins with yourself. And not only that, but also setting boundaries and etc. and actions. It's about increasing your capacity to safely hold more and knowing where you are in your cycle. And that happens very slowly, as I said. Through rest, through regulation, through your boundaries, through emotional processing, through feeling safe in the body and that you have it aligned again with the cycle, through allowing yourself to stop performing and start listening first from within. And the goal is not to become someone who never gets overwhelmed, because yes, that still happens. But the goal is to create a nervous system environment within, and knowing that you can hold more of the life that is more aligned without collapsing all the time underneath. That you go into too much freeze or too much in a fight or flight. And what is so important to realize is that you were never lazy and you were never failing in life. You were simply carrying more than your body had the capacity to hold at this moment, or knowing and protecting that and holding that basically. So what I shared about, if we go it a little level deeper, because I talked already a lot about the different nervous system states, in the polyvagal theory, and where I'm also working with women in my sessions, is that you have 3 elements and you got the window of tolerance. That is what the more we understand where we are at again in our cycle, in what our boundaries are, the aligned actions we take in life, going within, what is our landscape of our window of tolerance from within, and how, you know, we can see right on time, okay, we move too much in the fawn or freeze. Ooh, I move too much into the fight or flight. What should I do, and what do I need to do to return back to my core, to the window of tolerance? I call it the 0 point, to the center, back to the center. And I call it, basically that's why I came up with the axis, but that's for later. I will also show in this video a image of, you can see that here on the video, an image that I created about the 3 levels. The middle, the green is, of course, I am in the window of tolerance, and you know, I feel they're very present, very calm, very connected. Then you just know, okay, I'm there. It's like I'm in that regulated state and I hold the capacity. But then you got the hyperarousal, that is in the fight or flight, and that is really the anxiety, the overwhelmed, being overstimulated, yeah, you name it. You know, I just share what the symptoms are. And the hyperarousal, you know, that is really about the fawn and the freeze, and you go are really then in the state of numbness and disconnected, as what I explained. And what I really want to say, and going deeper, is that I said, you know, about trauma and those kind of elements that causes it. And I want to give you some practical examples, you know, that I believe that probably many have learned, you know, that love must be earned, for example, or, you know, rest is not allowed. You cannot live in alignment with your cycle. Oh my gosh. Being needed creates worth, you know, being overproductive. Success comes from overworking all the time. Emotions are too much. Being vulnerable is dangerous. Oh my gosh, that one. Asking for help leads to disappointment. So yeah, why should I do that? Slowing down is unsafe. And being fully seen will lead to rejection. And you know, those beliefs are not just mental, they become patterns in the body. And you literally, you know, first it's like a thought and a belief, and then it manifests, and the body, you know, the body literally keeps up the score. And the body starts, you know, organizing almost like an orbit in the universe that you are. It starts to manifest that outside into the world. And what I believe, this is why so many women are staying stuck in cycles of overgiving, overthinking, perfectionism, you know, like the people pleasing, the emotional burnout, being hyper independent, hyper masculinity, or constantly trying to fix themselves. And the nervous system is trying to protect many from the pain it believes still is there. Again, the body keeps up the score. And for some women, healing becomes another form of striving, thriving almost. Another way to chase worthiness, another way to finally become, you know, and feel some good enough somewhere, and to feel that almost like fuel, that level of the state of the nervous system where really attention is needed. But I want to say that true healing asks for something very different. It asks you to stop performing healing and start living it. It asks you to stop trying to outthink and outsmart your nervous system. It asks you to slow down enough to notice what your body is still carrying and to tune in. The nervous system is not just responsible for stress, as many are thinking that, right? It shapes how you think, connect, make decisions, handle pressure. I can go on with the list, and as I said, it basically dictates how we manifest and are aligned with our lives. Your nervous system is constantly gathering information around you. As I said before, like, is it safe? Is it not safe? It's scanning the whole time. Am I safe in that window of tolerance that I was talking about? And if the answer is yes, your body can stay present, open, connected, aligned to your soul essence. And then you are connected to your creative you are. And when the answer is no, your body shifts down into survival mode or freeze. And this is the thing, it is an automatic response. But if we come back, and this is why I do this work with women in the different levels of why I created the Access method. Because when the body perceives danger or pressure, criticism, it as I said before, it activates the protective states. And what I really want to state, this is often the hidden reason, if we don't have the clarity around what is happening in us and how our nervous system really works and where we are at in our cycle. And it's why so many women sabotage the very things they want in life and they want to align with, and their soul is like, yeah, because your soul, you access your soul in the window of tolerance. That is connected to more love, more success, more visibility, being more intimate, having more rest and allowing yourself to have more rest, receiving more abundance. And not because, I really want to state, it's not that you don't want those things, but it's because the nervous system does not yet feel safe to hold that. And this is really the thing, in the affirmation world, in the mindset world, and etc. So many do so many subconscious mindset affirmations, and then abundance will ramp up in your life and whatsoever. It will not work if you don't know and if you don't have, I don't want to say control, but control of your inner capacity. And what I also really want to say is that when you more and more come into that healthy state and understanding your nervous system, and again, that's different for each person holds a different kind of blueprint. So when you enter more and more and you reach more that level of window of tolerance and a capacity, you can rest more without guilt. You can receive more support in life. You can really be open to that. You set more clear boundaries. You make sure that you show yourself more, feel more emotions, that you take up space, you trust. You can, I don't want to say, and this is also the problem in the spiritual world of so much of my feminine. Basically how I translate it, like I'm really my masculine or feminine, it's like, or going into much freeze or fun is too, I always said distorted feminine, but it's making it clinical. It's the nervous system that is going into freeze and fawn, and you left the window of tolerance. And then, you know, too much masculine, you go into fight or flight and reactive and overstimulation and forcing, and now you know it. That is basically that. So that is basically also why so many are talking about, you know, distorted masculine and distorted feminine, and I translate it to our nervous system, because I believe that looking at the window of tolerance, the more, and this is really how you heal the polarities also within, that's just a tip here, that is more and more you come back in that window of tolerance, that is the connection to your soul, to God, to everything. So, you know, and being in that window of tolerance, you become more resilient, you become more grounded, you become emotional, more stable, more connected to your body, and more able to respond instead of react. And I have to say that I believe that over time, this changes everything in every area of your life. You know, your relationships will become better. You know, you communicate even more clearly. You trust yourself even more deeply. You stop abandoning yourself. You stop living in constant survival, and you know how to deal with it, basically. You stop needing chaos to feel normal. And this is why nervous system work is not about feeling calm and regulation that so many are talking out there about. And that's why I really wanted to make a deep video about what is really nervous system capacity, the systems, and working towards this point. So what I believe, it is really about creating a body and being connected to your body that feels safe enough to hold that life, you know, that is aligned to love, leadership, visibility, and the expansion you are calling in, and you know that that is true from within. So if you have been feeling stuck, exhausted, unmotivated, or likely you cannot keep up, take a breath here. It's a lot of talking. And what I want to say, your body does not need more pressure, or, you know, it needs really to know that you can hold that and you can rebuild that inner structure. And what I want to say, if this really resonates deeply with you, I created a free mini course, and you can find the link in my bio on YouTube. Because I feel and think that is like a perfect place to start, and tuning in and understanding how that feels like to come back to that window of tolerance. And what I really want to say before I close it, this work is not about becoming something new. That's what our mind always tries to fill in. It is about returning to the life and the version of you that you already know that it exists beneath the overwhelm, the freeze, and you just know it. So yeah, join my free mini course. I created it with so much power and so much love. And I have also other paid versions around different kind of topics that I'm developing right now and in the future. That is another step in the process of my access method. And I also have one-on-one sessions, container work, where I go deeper with astrology and gene keys. And yeah, I just want to say welcome home, beautiful. I always say that also in my content, but it's really true, because yeah, I really love to share this, and I wish you all the blessings. Bye.